Divine Revelations, the 12 miraculous truths of elites and their quest for the sacred astral realm. In the heart of a bustling urban community, a small church stood, its steeple rising toward the heavens like a finger pointing to divine mysteries. Inside, Pastor Nathaniel, a devoted minister with a warm heart, passionately delivered sermons that wrapped his congregation in a comforting embrace of faith. His unwavering belief made him a beacon of hope for all, a soothing balm in a world swirling with chaos. But then came a series of tragedies, each more bewildering than the last. First, the pipe burst, flooding the sanctuary. Next, the cherished piano, a gift from the congregation, mysteriously caught fire. A tide of doubt swept over Nathaniel, threatening the very foundation of his faith. One stormy evening, while seeking refuge among the dusty shelves of the church library, Nathaniel stumbled upon an ancient manuscript. The 12 miraculous truths, it whispered, its pages glowing as if infused with holy light. This mysterious text spoke of spiritual realms and celestial powers. Intrigued yet afraid, Nathaniel felt a pull, a calling to explore these divine revelations. The air buzzed with expectancy around him. Could this text hold the secrets to help heal his beloved community? Not everyone shared Nathaniel's excitement. Mr. Thompson, the church's respected elder, scoffed at the pastor's musings. A fanciful tale, Nathaniel, he scoffed. We must base our faith on reason, not on airy notions. A storm brewed within the church as Nathaniel clung to his newfound hope. Just as tension thickened, calamity struck at home. His precious daughter Sophia fell gravely ill, her condition worsening by the hour. Doctors offered grim prognoses, leaving Nathaniel and his wife in despair. As they huddled together in their dimly lit living room, Nathaniel clutched the ancient text tightly. He called on St. Jude, the patron saint of lost causes, his voice trembling with desperation. "St. Jude, hear my prayer," he cried. "Let our daughter rise from the depths of despair." Tears streamed down his face as their prayers ascended, mingling with the incense of the church, elevating their pleas to the heavens. Suddenly, a quiet flicker of light ignited in the room. The atmosphere crackled with electric hope, an unmistakable presence filling the air. Was it divinity at hand? Sophia began to awaken. Color returned to her cheeks, her eyes fluttering open as if kissed by the breath of angels. Gasps of awe erupted from the family. This miraculous transformation sent shockwaves through the congregation, igniting new faith among the believers. What will they say now? Nathaniel pondered, hope rekindling in his heart. But when advancing medical technology turned eyes from the miraculous to the mundane, doubt seeped back into the hearts of even the most devoted, and skepticism gripped the community once more. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. In the shadow of his daughter's miracle, Nathaniel found himself standing on the precipice of faith and logic. Would he embrace the ancient truths that called to him, or would he succumb to the thundering voice of reason? He gathered the congregation once more, their hearts beating as one, yearning for guidance. As he prepared to share the 12 revelations, a hush fell over them. The air grew thick with anticipation, hope dancing like fireflies in the twilight. Would his words ignite a rebirth of faith, or would doubt extinguish the flame? Just as he opened his mouth to speak, fear loomed, ready to unravel everything again. What awaited them in this moment of divine confrontation? Would the sacred whisper of truth break through the veil of reason? The answer lay just beyond his trembling lips. The silence in the church thickened like fog, wrapping around Nathaniel and his congregation. He cleared his throat, heart pounding like a drumbeat in a quiet night. Would his voice carry the weight of hope, or would the cold winds of doubt drown it out? Beloveds, he began, allowing his words to settle over them like a warm embrace. We stand at a crossroads, and I have glimpsed a divine light that may guide us. Faces turned toward him, eyes glimmering with curiosity and concern. The flickering candles cast dancing shadows upon the worn wooden pews, revealing the anxious expressions of those he cherished. They were searching for clarity in the chaos, much like a lost lamb seeking its shepherd. "The truths I found in the ancient manuscript." His voice trembled slightly, yet he pressed on. "These 12 revelations promise a connection to a sacred realm beyond our earthly troubles. They remind us that faith can pierce the clouds of doubt." Each word was a feather, each syllable a thread weaving their spirits closer. That he spoke of miracles, of the unseen forces that guide and uplift. "These truths," he proclaimed, "are whispers from our Creator, lessons that transcend time and space. With each truth we live by, we step closer to the divine and draw nearer to the miracles of our daily lives." Nathaniel shared the first revelation. It was simple, yet powerful. In every shadow, there is light. He could feel the spark igniting in the hearts around him. Difficulties may come, but they are not the end. They are stepping stones to transformation. As he spoke, Nathaniel watched as the doubt began to lift from their faces. A family with clasped hands leaned in, their youngest member, a bright-eyed girl with a gap-toothed smile, nodded eagerly. Hope was taking root. Each revelation poured forth like a river after a long drought. He spoke of the divine presence that accompanies them through trials, of love that binds the community together, and the grace that sustains even when storms rage. Believe not just when the signs are clear, but in the unseen forces at work around you. Miracle does not always come in grand displays but often whispers softly in your heart when you are willing to listen. Suddenly, the atmosphere shifted. It felt as if the air thickened with spiritual energy, waves crashing like ocean tides. Sounds of murmurs began to ripple through the congregation. A man in the back stood up, tears streaming down his suntanned cheeks. "I lost my job but found a better purpose." His voice trembled with truth. Others nodded, sharing their stories in hushed tones. Healing, provision, and reconciliation were pouring forth like an unstoppered well. Faith was being ignited in every heart, a collective flame of divine possibility illuminating the sanctuary. But just as hope surged, Nathaniel's heart faltered once more. Would this moment last? Would they hold on to this spark, or would the world outside once again snuff it out? As he pondered, he felt a stirring within his spirit, something calling him to move beyond these spoken truths. "Let us not only hear these revelations but live them," he encouraged, raising his arms. "Let us create a community of miracles. Are we willing to believe, to act, and to embrace our faith?" Light flooded through the stained glass windows, illuminating his countenance. The congregation erupted in fervent agreement, their voices rising to the heavens in a joyful chorus. Little did Nathaniel know that this was just the beginning of their journey, a delicate thread woven into a tapestry of divine revelation that demanded more than words. It beckoned them all toward a confrontation with something greater than mere logic, a greater purpose that awaited just beyond their reach. As they stood together, a question hung in the air, electric with anticipation: what miraculous truths were still waiting to be revealed, and how would this new faith reshape their lives? The hum of excitement swirled around Nathaniel like bees drawn to blossoms, each face radiant with newfound hope. Their fervor was palpable, a shared heartbeat echoing through the hallowed church. Yet, amid this thrumming energy, Nathaniel felt a gentle nudge within his spirit, a whisper urging him to delve deeper into the revelations he had uncovered. "Let us embrace the second revelation, friends," he said, feeling the energy ripple through the congregation. "It is one of profound depth. In every ending, we find new beginnings." The words hung in the air like golden threads, weaving through the minds of the gathered souls. Nathaniel could see them awaken to the truth, each heart looking back at moments of pain and loss. Faces softened. Eyes glistened with tears of recognition. Yes, every end bore the promise of something new, the chance to rise like dawn after a dark night. From the midst of the congregation, an elderly woman stood, leaning heavily on her cane. "I lost my husband last winter," she said, her voice steady though cracked with emotion. "But through that loss, I found my purpose in helping others who grieve." Her words flowed like a river, carrying the weight of her journey. Nathanael nodded, heartened by her testimony. Indeed. Loss can carve a space within us that makes room for new love and service. It is in these moments when we turn our hearts to God that we begin to see His hand at work. The congregation responded with murmurs of agreement, and he sensed an infectious warmth spreading. Hope ignited beneath the surface, combining their stories into something greater, a tapestry of resilience crafted from divine threads. As he continued, Nathanael felt an internal stirring, a deep recognition that these revelations were not just for them in the church, but for the world outside. We do not merely exist within these walls. He proclaimed, gesturing to the stained glass windows that reflected vibrant colors onto the floor. We are called to be messengers of hope in the brokenness around us. Each revelation is our guide to foster transformation beyond ourselves. In that moment, Nathanael could see pulsing lives in every square inch of the church, a symphony of shared journeys, of diverse experiences clashing to form a glorious crescendo. His voice grew more fervent. Imagine how we could impact our community. Friends, are we ready to embody these truths and become beacons of divine light in our neighborhoods? The energy surged, faces glowing with righteous determination as people rose from their seats, feeling the call to action. This was not merely a gathering, it was an awakening, a rallying cry to extend their hands beyond their comfort zones. Yet, a shadow of doubt flickered within him. Could they sustain this momentum? Would worldly distractions lead them astray? With newfound conviction, he pressed on. Let us savor this moment, but also take it with us to the hearts aching for comfort, the souls longing for answers. We must share these revelations not just here, but in everyday encounters as an act of faith. As he spoke, Nathanael felt a warmth envelop the room, a palpable sense of divine affirmation washing over them. The atmosphere was electric, whispering promises of connection to something infinitely larger than their immediate surroundings, but just as they were caught in this divine embrace, Nathanael felt an intriguing tug at his soul. A revelation was stirring, waiting to unfold. What more was there to explore? What connections remained to be made? The congregation, alive with passion and purpose, posed a question in their eyes: what would their next steps be, and how would they discover more of the divine mysteries that awaited? As Nathanael caught his breath, a soft menacing breeze brushed past him, a reminder that the path ahead would be fraught with trials, yet bursting with divine potential. Could they grasp the next truth, and would they be willing to venture into the unknown? The air was thick with anticipation, echoing a promise that something miraculous was yet to come. The air crackled with a holy expectation, but Nathanael's heart pulsed with uncertainty. The beautiful faces around him seemed so eager, yet they bore the weight of the world. He could sense that the second revelation was only the beginning. But what lay ahead? Friends, as we ponder our next steps, he said, voice steady yet infused with passion, let us journey together towards our third revelation. He took a deep breath, feeling the warmth of the collective spirit rising like a comforting wave. It tells us, faith is the bridge that leads through despair to hope. A collective hush fell over the congregation, and Nathanael watched an elderly man squeeze his wife's hand tightly, a flicker of longing in his eyes. It was a look he understood, a silent plea for strength amid the storms of life. Many of us have faced despair, haven't we? Times when the light seemed so far away. His words resonated, wrapping around their hearts. But it's faith, dear friends, that weathers the darkest storms and guides us back to assurance. Nathanael could feel that deep yearning within himself, as well as a desire to understand how to foster faith. He recalled the moments in his life when hope seemed lost, like a candle flickering under the weight of a crushing wind. Yet in those moments, he had found the strength to believe, like a seed that pushes through the dirt to seek the sun. We look at our world, and how can we not feel despair? Illness, loneliness, and hardship touch every heart. He paused, taking in the stony faces reflecting both sadness and hope. But isn't it in those dismal valleys that the flowers of faith blossom? Isn't it within those trials that we grow? As he spoke, the room transformed. Soft light poured through the stained glass windows, casting colored patterns over hopeful faces. Nathanael sensed the shift, the tethering of spirits anchoring to the idea of faith guiding them through darkness. Yes. It's the moments we can't discern God's plan that our faith means the most. The elderly man, emboldened by Nathaniel's words, stood up. In my darkest hour, it was faith that held me close. It was faith that helped me face each day. Cheers erupted around him as that same warmth flowed through the congregation. Nathaniel could feel their hearts beating faster, minds ignited with shared understanding. Hope entwined itself with their spirits, whispering promises yet to be fulfilled. Together, then, let us create a tapestry of faith. Nathaniel declared, raising his arms to emphasize the enormity of the task. Let us show the world how faith can transform fatigue into freedom. We are to be reminders to others that even when shadows loom, light can break through. Suddenly, a young woman in the front row raised her hand, her eyes shimmering with fervor. But how, Nathaniel? How do we nurture our faith in this chaotic world? Her question hung in the air, resonating deeply. Countless eyes turned to him, hungry for more than just words. They yearned for direction, for the tools to move forward. The tension tightened in the room, a palpable united longing for action. Nathaniel took a step closer, feeling the energy humming like electric wires. Ah, there's the question of the hour. To nurture faith, we must practice it daily, in small acts of love, kindness, and gratitude. We must engage with the world and invite the sacred into our routines. Are we willing to let faith shape our decisions? To let it be the compass in our journey? As those words left his lips, Nathaniel felt a rush of divine assurance. The journey ahead would be vast and unpredictable, yet he felt an undeniable pull, like a strong current leading them to something magnificent. Yet in that very moment of inspiration, uncertainty again whispered at the edges of his soul. What trials would this journey bring? Were they prepared to embrace the challenges that came with strengthened faith? The congregation awaited eagerly, but Nathaniel remained taut with anticipation. Would they be ready to tread the path toward deeper understanding and transformation? As he captured their gaze, he sensed a new challenge approaching, and even greater revelation awaited the faithful. The promise of divine encounter lingered, shimmering in their hearts like morning dew. What wondrous truth would faith unveil next? Would they embrace the mystical journey ahead? Nathaniel felt the weight of the moment. A sacred hush enveloped the room, tidal waves of hope and anticipation crashing against the shore of their hearts. Lulled in a collective silence, the congregation hung on to his every breath, every word, as he realized they needed more than mere encouragement. They sought a path carved by faith, a roadmap to traverse the dangerous terrain of their earthly struggles. Friends, Nathaniel spoke softly, his voice almost a whisper against the sacred ambience. To nurture our faith, we must be willing to dive deeper, to explore the hidden caverns of our spirits. It is in those depths that we encounter treasures waiting to be discovered. He could feel the energy shifting, an unspoken agreement boiling beneath the surface. He glanced around, locking eyes with the young woman who had asked the pressing question. Her gaze spoke volumes, curiosity blended with urgency. Let us reflect on the practice of gratitude, he continued, how it nourishes our hearts. When we express our thanks, even in the mundane, we create sacred spaces inviting God into our daily lives. With every word, Nathaniel could see the gears turning in their minds. People began to nod, whispers of affirmation circulating. The elderly man smiled knowingly, and the young woman's eyes sparkled with understanding as they envisioned how gratitude might wrap them like a warm blanket, helping them press through the coldness of life. Nathaniel raised a hand, inviting all to visualize their daily routines: the morning coffee, the small exchanges on public transport, even a fleeting smile shared with a stranger. Each moment holds potential, he declared. Can we transform them into acts of worship? Can we see God alive in these seemingly trivial gestures? A murmur of contemplation rippled through the crowd. A man near the back spoke, but Nathaniel, sometimes it feels like our thankfulness is overshadowed by our troubles. Indeed. Nathaniel replied, heart soaring at the engagement. But that's the beauty of faith, acknowledging our struggles while choosing to see beyond them. It's like the morning sun personally greeting the flowers after a long night. Our challenges are real, yet so is God's promise to carry us through them. A ripple of warmth spread throughout Light poured in through the windows, illuminating their faces as they shared in this awakening. Faith is a muscle, friends, it grows stronger with use. Let us stretch it. Nathaniel's voice quickened, ignited by the fire of their collective spirit. Think of faith as a rope we weave together. Every act of kindness, every word of encouragement, and every prayer is a strand of that rope. As it thickens with our shared experiences, it can pull us from despair into hope. He paused, eyes gleaming with fervor, and remember, we are not called to this journey alone. Together, we walk in fellowship, supporting one another, sharing burdens, and celebrating victories along the way. They responded with a chorus of agreement, hearts awakening to a unity strengthened by purpose. Nathaniel's spirit soared to new heights, sensing the divine presence embracing them, intertwining lives in love and faith. Now, are we prepared to nurture this faith? He asked, his heart racing. Will we commit to making gratitude our compass? Will we allow it to guide us toward stronger faith and brighter hope? Yes. The congregation erupted, a thunderous affirmation, a proclamation that resonated through the vaulted ceilings. Nathaniel felt the air filled with divine energy, an unstoppable wave was building, cradling each soul within its crest. Yet, amidst that brilliance, a new thought flickered in the back of his mind: what deeper lesson would emerge next? A challenge awaited that would shake the very foundation of their faith journey. Would they be ready to confront it? As he looked out at the eager faces, he felt an indescribable urge to prepare them for what was to come. For every revelation we embrace, we open doors to the unknown. Let us steel ourselves to face the trials ahead with unwavering resolve. What revelations awaited them? What divine truths were waiting to be unveiled? The air buzzed with questions, and Nathaniel felt ready to dive into the depths of faith, knowing a magnificent transformation awaited. Nathaniel took a deep breath, aware that the moment had arrived for the congregation to embrace the unknown. Friends, as shadows of uncertainty loom above us, we stand together on the brink of discovery. I sense a stirring in the air, a call to awaken the dormant dreams within our hearts. A few heads leaned forward, faces illuminated by a radiant hope. He felt the collective tension, a blend of fear and excitement, pulse through the room. Today, I urge you to open your hearts wider than ever before. In this communion of faith, let us unearth the 12 sacred truths designed to draw us closer to the divine. Nathaniel's voice drummed softly against the silence, gaining momentum with every word. These truths are like stars in our spiritual sky, guiding us through the darkest nights. The first truth is this: in every trial, there is opportunity for growth. Think of those moments of despair. How often do they serve to refine our spirits? He saw nods of understanding ripple through the crowd. The elderly man's face bore the wisdom of years, while the young woman's brows knitted together, absorbing the weight of this revelation. Nathaniel continued, excitement mingling with determination. The second truth is the reminder: our pain is a pathway to greater compassion. When we endure, we become wellsprings of comfort for others. He paused for effect, feeling the energy swell. Can you see it? Each difficulty we endure prepares us to lighten the burdens of our brothers and sisters. Yes, your struggle is not in vain. The atmosphere thickened with shared understanding. People began to exchange glances, eyes lighting up with recognition. Truth number 3, Nathaniel announced, propelling forward, is that limitations are invitations for divine assistance. When we feel at our weakest, God steps in. He fills the gaps with grace and love. A murmur of agreement rippled through the room, mingled with soft gasps that echoed the realization of this profound truth. Nathaniel's heart swelled. They were beginning to see the tapestry being woven before them. The fourth truth, dear friends, is both beautiful and challenging: our imperfections are the very canvas of grace. Each flaw you perceive in yourself is a brushstroke in the masterpiece of creation. God does not seek perfection, He seeks authenticity. The congregation's emotions swirled, some whispering affirmations while others wiped away tears of release. Nathaniel felt a divine warmth circulating around them, a holy atmosphere that urged them to dig deeper still. Let us not stop there. Truth 5 reminds us, vulnerability is a source of strength. When we let others in, we mirror our Creator's open arms. It's an invitation for love, understanding, and joy to seep into the cracks of our existence. He sensed a shift. Faces softened, defenses lowered, exposing the tender hearts beneath the armor. Friends, as we explore, let us find courage in our interconnectedness. We are knit together in purpose, and each truth we uncover strengthens this divine bond. As the air crackled with anticipation, Nathaniel took a moment to ground himself, scanning their faces of expectancy. Just as the dawn breaks, revealing the treasures of a new day, each of these truths shines light into our current struggle. With every revelation, we come closer to our Creator. A feeling of awe swept the room, lingering in the silence that followed. Yet Nathaniel knew there were still 7 truths waiting to be unveiled, each one beckoning to transform their understanding of faith and life itself. What awaits us as we continue this journey? What new light might break through our shadows? Prepare your hearts, dear friends. His voice trailed off, leaving questions dancing in the air and a longing to uncover more. The spirit of anticipation gripped each soul as they contemplated the next steps of their voyage into divine truth. Nathaniel felt the charged atmosphere wrap around him, a blanket of expectation knitting the congregation closer together. He took a moment, letting the silence settle like dew at dawn, before diving into the 6th sacred truth. Truth 6, he proclaimed, his voice now a steady beacon, is that hope is the bedrock of our faith. When storms howl and darkness beckons, hope is the anchor that holds us firm. We may feel tossed about, but it is this very hope, a glimpse of God's promise, that keeps us steady. The room resonated with murmurs of agreement, faces illuminated by understanding. The elderly man from earlier nodded, a twinkle in his eye. Yes. Hope is what carries us. He whispered, echoing the heart of the worshippers gathered. Nathaniel continued, feeling the momentum build, and with hope comes the 7th truth, faith is a journey, not a destination. Friends, we often yearn for our struggles to end, but let us remember that every step on the winding path is a lesson unveiled. When we lean in, embracing each phase of our journey, we grow closer to the divine. A wave of recognition passed through the congregation. Nathaniel sensed their hearts unlocking further, courage springing forth. The young woman, emboldened by Nathaniel's words, leaned forward, her eyes shimmering with newfound insight. Your faith is like a seed, he said, anchoring their understanding. It germinates in the tender soil of trust and patience. God may not answer our prayers in the way we expect, but He hears our cries. Each moment shapes us, each trial builds us, preparing us for the greater plans He holds. As Nathaniel spoke, he wasn't just conveying abstract truths, he was sharing an experience, a heartfelt revelation that intertwined their lives with God's plan. The warmth of the divine pulsed through the room, drawing them into a sacred embrace. There's a beautiful truth, he continued, his words swelling with emotion. Truth 8 reveals that compassion connects us with the divine. Each act of kindness, no matter how small, brings God's love into this world. When you reach out to another, stretching your hand in love, you become a vessel for His grace. People glanced at one another, grasping the weight of Nathaniel's message. A child in the front row leaned into her mother's side, sensing something sacred in the air. The ripples of compassion began to flow, weaving through the hearts of the gathered, and then, the room fell silent again with Nathaniel's mastery of timing. Let us take a moment, he said gently, to reflect on how we can embody compassion this week. Can we open our eyes to those in need around us? Can we choose kindness over judgment? This is where we encounter the divine amidst our shared humanity. The congregation closed their eyes in deep contemplation, breathing in the sacred space surrounding them. Nathaniel smiled softly, knowing that in their stillness, countless revelations unfolded. As the minutes flowed by, he felt a stirring deep within himself, an urging to press onward without hesitation. The 9th truth, dear friends, is that joy is a divine gift. It arises from recognizing God's presence in our lives, even in the tiniest moments. Seek it out, linger with it, and share it. With renewed fervor, Nathanael felt emboldened to continue. He sensed their hearts reacting, yearning to delve deeper into the mysteries of faith. What other wonders await us? He questioned, voice rising with excitement. What divine gifts lie ready to be uncovered? The collective heartbeat of the congregation echoed the reverberations of his call, and their eagerness radiated like the dawn breaking over a distant horizon. What would the next truths reveal, and how would they change their lives forever? Nathanael's gaze swept the room, igniting souls with a spark of divine adventure. Prepare yourselves, for our journey into sacred truth is far from over. There are more revelations waiting just ahead. As Nathanael stood before the eager congregation, a current of divine energy flowed through him. He could feel the stirring within each heart, an unquenchable thirst for more spiritual nourishment. The silence that hung between him and the gathering felt sacred, as if heaven itself was awaiting the next revelation. Let us venture into truth 10, he said, lifting his chin with a mixture of reverence and excitement. This truth, my beloved friends, is that community is our greatest strength. Just as iron sharpens iron, we grow sharper in our faith through each other's light. Together, we can climb mountains and conquer valleys that seem insurmountable alone. Nods of agreement swept through the crowd like gentle waves on a serene lake. The elderly man, now leaning forward with anticipation, gazed at Nathanael as though his very soul hung on these words. True strength, Nathanael continued, his voice growing fervent, lies not in solitary resilience but in the bonds we create. Look around you, every person here is a thread in the tapestry of our faith. Together, we weave a beautiful story, one where support and love are the colors that bring it to life. Amidst the warmth of these claims, the young woman who had been touched by Nathanael's earlier revelations raised her hand hesitantly. But what if we struggle to connect? She asked, her voice quivering lightly. What if our wounds keep us apart instead? Nathanael's heart swelled with compassion. Ah, he nodded, acknowledging the vulnerability that coursed through her words. This brings us to truth 11, healing is a shared journey. Each of us carries scars, reminders of battles fought and lessons learned. Our healing does not happen in isolation, it flourishes within the caring hearts of our community. When we come together, sharing our stories and listening with love, we allow God's light to penetrate even the darkest places. Murmurs of affirmation rippled throughout the assembly. Nathanael noticed eyes glistening with unshed tears as the truth connected deeply. Think of the times you felt alone in your hurt, he urged, his tone softening. But then, someone reached out, shared a kind word, or simply stood beside you in silence. That is the foundation of healing, the awareness that we are not alone, and that love can transcend the deepest wounds. Each moment we show empathy, we carry a piece of heaven to earth. A palpable energy embraced the room, wrapping everyone in a cocoon of togetherness. In this space, the child in the front row giggled quietly, momentarily breaking the solemn mood, reminding Nathanael that joy dances even in the shadows of pain. And dear friends, this brings us to our 12th and final truth today, he said, allowing a smile to unfurl upon his lips. The most wondrous truth is that gratitude transforms our hearts. When we acknowledge the blessings in our lives, even the smallest, we invite joy to bloom. Gratitude is the fragrant flower of faith, its petals open us up to the immense beauty around and within us. As he spoke, Nathanael could see many faces brighten. The congregation leaned in closer, eager to explore this new truth, their hearts ready to embrace its richness. Mark my words, he declared with warmth, a grateful heart is a magnet for miracles. When we express gratitude, we create a ripple that touches others, awakening them to the abundance flowing in their lives. What gifts has God given you that you can cherish today? The thoughtful silence enfolded them again, but this time it was imbued with a spirit of expectancy. Nathanael glanced around, feeling the weight of their combined energies, the hope, the desire for transformation. As we leave here today, I urge you to seek moments of gratitude. Let that be your guide, your beacon. What new blessings will you uncover as you carry these truths forward? As he paused, the air felt electric, filled with promise and potential. And then, just as he sensed the gathering reaching a beautiful crescendo, he leaned in, lowering his voice to a conspiratorial whisper, "But what if there is something more? What awaits us beyond these truths, just beyond our grasp?" The room was filled with a stillness that hung in the air, pregnant with anticipation. Nathaniel could feel the collective heartbeat of his friends, vibrating with expectation that something beautiful lay just ahead. "Have you ever felt there is more?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper, as if sharing a sacred secret. "More to this life than just our everyday struggles and joys. There's a divine thread woven throughout our existence, connecting us to a greater purpose, a celestial call. This leads us to our 13th truth, dear friends, the Spirit guides our path." Gasps of surprise fluttered through the crowd, their hearts stirring anew. Nathaniel could see it in their eyes, the flicker of recognition, that sometimes often life's journey isn't meant to be navigated alone. "Our spirits," he continued, "are like rivers flowing towards the ocean of God's love. Each of us possesses an inherent compass, guiding us toward our true calling. When life feels chaotic, when the road becomes unclear, it's in surrendering to that guiding spirit that we find clarity. Trust in that still, small voice that whispers hope when darkness looms." A wave of nods rippled from the back to the front of the hall. It felt like a collective embrace, a confirming pulse between Nathaniel and his beloved congregation. Suddenly, an older woman in the back spoke, her voice trembling yet determined. "But how do we know we're truly hearing the Spirit? How can we trust it doesn't lead us astray?" The question hung in the air, heavy with doubt yet laced with yearning. Nathaniel stepped forward, his eyes meeting hers, sparking an instant connection. "Oh, my sister, that is such an important inquiry. The true essence of the Spirit often invites us into the quiet. It invites us to listen. In prayer and reflection, amidst stillness and nature, we often hear our Creator's heartbeat, guiding us like a lamp unto our feet." As he spoke, he noticed several heads bowing in introspection. The silence that followed was not one of tension but of sacred contemplation, as if the community were leaning into the very heart of God together. "What can you do today," Nathaniel continued softly, "to cultivate that space? Each moment spent in prayer is like watering a young plant, helping faith to grow. And did you know that sharing your burdens with one another can also lift heavy weights? When you share your trials and triumphs with your community, you become a vessel for the Spirit's work among us." The depth of his words felt tangible, reverberating through the air like a sweet melody resonating within the walls of their souls. The gathering seemed to exude warmth, the light of understanding glimmering in their eyes. "And remember," Nathaniel added with a playful smile, "the Spirit often speaks in unexpected ways. It might be a child's laughter, the rustle of leaves whispering in the wind, or perhaps even a quiet nudge from a friend. Pay attention, for God operates in the realm of the extraordinary hidden within the ordinary." A child's laughter echoed again, breaking the spell of silence with a reminder of joy. Nathaniel couldn't help but smile wider. "Let us leave here today," he urged gently, "with open hearts, expecting those whispers. Remember our 13th truth, the Spirit truly guides our path. But I wonder, what if the Spirit has even more to reveal? What more can we uncover together on this journey?" As he posed that question, an electric energy surged through the room again. It felt like the air itself was buzzing with divine potential, and Nathaniel knew they were standing on the brink of revelation. What awaited them next? The thought lingered, tantalizing in its uncertainty. The atmosphere inside the church was a rich tapestry of anticipation, hope, and faith, a collective breath held, waiting for the next divine words to unfold. Nathaniel stood in the center, surrounded by eager souls hungry for the wisdom that had poured forth in the last hours. But he sensed something monumental was brewing, something that would elevate their journey even further. "Beloveds," he began, his voice soft yet commanding, "we have journeyed through revelations that illuminate our path, a precious gift from the heavens. But I feel the Spirit stirring within us still, calling us to deeper understanding and action. Faces brightened with excitement, hearts racing. The flickering candle flames danced in rhythm with their collective heartbeat, encouraging Nathaniel to explore the unknown, to encourage them to reach out and grasp the divine luminescence waiting just beyond their grasp. Today marks a pivotal moment. He declared, his joy spilling over like a fountain. It's not simply about revelations received, but about how we translate these truths into living, breathing faith that moves mountains. As he spoke, he felt the warmth of the congregation envelop him, a wave of unity that ignited his spirit. I want to introduce you to the final call of our journey, the act of faith. The next step we must take as a body is to embody these truths in our lives, in our homes, workplaces, and communities. With every word, the urgency of transformation pulsed through the air like a symphony of divine purpose. Tears glistened in the eyes of the devoted, hands clenched in fervent agreement. You see, friends, faith is not passive. It beckons us to action, to live out what we believe, to be vessels of light in an often dark world. A ripple of understanding coursed through the crowd, their eagerness manifesting in subtle nods and murmurs of encouragement. Nathaniel felt the Holy Spirit surge within him, filling each crevice of doubt, illuminating a path forward that could draw them into deeper communal connection. Let us focus on the first step, he said brightly. We must cultivate compassion. This week, find a way, just one simple way, to serve someone in need. Be the hands and feet of Christ. Share the word of the Spirit. Encourage one another. Your acts of love will bear witness to the world of the miracles unfolding here among us. A cascade of amens echoed throughout the room, faith ignited by the promise of action. Nathaniel watched as hope transformed their faces, urging them towards experience and engagement. Then, with a gentle yet empowering intensity, he continued, but it doesn't stop there. As we serve, let us also spread the good news of our revelations. Share your stories. Share your testimonies. The miracles that God has worked in your lives can spark the flame of hope in others' hearts. The congregation erupted with fervor. People began to share small murmurs, stories of healing and renewed faith, and Nathaniel felt their spirits entwine in a powerful embrace of unity. He could almost see the light from their hearts enveloping one another, knitting their lives closer in shared mission. Nathaniel drew in a deep breath, stagnant doubt lifting with each shared experience. Let us continue this movement of faith, spreading light in our community. Perhaps we could coordinate an outreach event, bring the love of Christ into local shelters, feed the hungry, comfort the grieving. Imagine the ripple effect of our acts. Each moment of faith becomes a catalyst for miracles. With that, the enthusiasm in the room reached its pinnacle. The beautiful sounds of passionate discussion filled the air as plans began to form, each idea laced with excitement and love. Now, beloved family, be reminded, Nathaniel said, his voice softening but still resonant with fervor, in each step we take together, the Spirit guides us. We are not alone. Trust in the journey and look for the whispers of divine guidance. As the room transformed into a chaotic yet beautiful collaboration of ideas and exuberance, Nathaniel marveled at the phenomenon unfolding before him. This was their moment, a culmination of faith, love, and community sprouting like fresh blooms reaching toward the sun. Before we depart, he said, gently raising his hands for silence. Let us pray over our actions. May God bless our plans, ignite our hearts, and illuminate the path which lies before us. In that hush, hearts gathered in solemn reverence, prayers whispered softly to heaven as Nathaniel led them in a heartfelt devotion. The air shimmered with promise, lifting spirits and binding souls. Let us step boldly into the role God has prepared for us, he concluded, and carry these truths into our daily lives. Together, we will see God's faithfulness unleashed. As they left the sanctuary, faces alight with newfound purpose, the transformation within them was clear. Faith had sparked action, and together they would be agents of divine love. They had emerged from the chrysalis of doubt, ready to soar into the world with wings made of faith. Friends, if this story has touched your spirit, if you feel the weight of these revelations, you need to subscribe now. Don't miss a moment of our journey through faith. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and spread this message of hope. Comment below your reactions and testimonies about this powerful conclusion. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation of divine truth. This is the moment to show your support and transform lives together.